Good morning, everybody. Good morning, world. Good morning, planet. Good morning, global citizens. At least we say good morning because at the moment I'm in Malaysia and my co-host here today, Matthias Gelber, he also just landed in Malaysia. Welcome to TreeTherium. It's our very, very first podcast and it will be the first podcast of many. Do you agree, Matthias? We have lots to say, yeah?
Yes, sure. We're in it for the long term. If we want to grow forests, we have to be in it for the long term. It's a long-term game. And you see those. I remember there was this guy in India who kind of started 30 years ago, and now he has a forest. Sometimes you see those
Yes.
pictures. I think as well in Patagonia, a couple, they started 20 years ago. I mean, we're in it for the long term, and I'm looking forward to that. I've been involved in many tree plantings, and they make a difference if you have a long-term commitment.
Right. Thank you. Wait, I think on your history and stuff, let's dive into a little bit as well. For people that look at your name, they've probably seen GreenMan, so maybe we're going to get an explanation on that a little bit later today as well. So yeah, first of all, thank you very much for joining in on our very, very first podcast and learning to know TreeTherium. That means you probably have an interest in a greener planet, and that's exactly what we're all about. We're all about planting trees. So TreeTherium, in principle, tokenizes tree planting worldwide, and there is lots to do. I mean, if we listen to the news, if you read newspapers, magazines, the world's on fire in principle. But one of the things that we see, we need more trees because it will deliver us quite a lot of benefits, additional benefits. We will talk about that in a short while. Matthias, can you explain a little bit on how we got started on TreeTherium? Because it all started with one A4 piece of paper with a couple of scribbles, and we took it off from there, and now it's an application that we're going to take around the world.
Yeah, for me, it started when I was a kid, and when I planted a tree behind our house that I brought back home from the forest. The forest was our playground, and we were used to trees. And there was one time when I was a teenager that we started to realize these were pine trees in Germany. We
Yeah.
had this area which was just next to the village, and it was like a nice self-contained forest, and we played there every day. We called it Steiner Tannen. Tannen is like pine trees, and they were having a problem. The needles of the pine trees were falling down, and was acid rain. You know, pollution from factories, coal-fired power plants. We're talking here the early 80s. There was no emission control, the sulfur dioxide, nitrous oxide, and it came down as acid rain. But this was the first green campaign I was involved in. And in Germany, that was the time when the Green Party was emerging. Still remember the leader of the Green Party giving a branch of a dying pine tree to the former late German Chancellor Helmut Kohl and saying, hey, we need to do something. And then, politicians realized the young people want this. So, legislation was installed and the problem was solved, and the trees were back to, good shape again. So, this is how my connection with the forest and the trees got really taken to the next level.
Yeah, for people that might have never heard of acid rain, when was all of this happening? What you just explained,
This was, when large
late
scale
70s.
industrialization happened. I
So it's
mean,
like
60s,
last
70s,
70s. Yes, yeah, I remember that as
coal-fired
well.
power plants, chemical factories. Suddenly, in coal-fired power plants, you have the coal has a lot of sulfur content. The sulfur goes up as SO2, sulfur dioxide, and it comes
Mhm.
down again with the rain as sulfuric acid. Same with nitrous oxides. Nitrogen dioxide comes down as nitric acid, and it changes the pH. You still remember the litmus test in chemistry, where you can see, is it alkaline? That's like pH 7, 8, 9 going up. Acidic
Right,
is going down, and that was what was happening with the soil. It was getting acidic from that pollution coming down
right.
in the form of the rain. And this problem was solved with people power, with awareness, with mobilization. And I can see we can make a change. But I've always
Right.
been passionate about trees. So same like you, right? You started off as a kid as well doing some tree planting.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, actually, I traveled to. My parents traveled a lot, and I had to travel with them. And we ended up in Belgium. In This is in 1970. Was it? Yeah, 1968. 60 in the 1968 to 1969, and the Belgium schooling system was very practical. Everything was hands on. So the kids, it was a lot of fun. So one day we were actually playing with seeds, and then we learned how to germinate seeds, and then we actually planted. So the trees actually grew in the classroom on the windowsill. So we actually saw how easy it was to have a small seed of a tree, and then germinate it, and then see it. While every day, of course, we're back in the classroom every day. We see our plants grow on the windowsill, and then there came a moment where we would go and plant the trees. We had two sessions, two of these weeks, which were very nature focused during this time. And so in principle, I went to school there for 2 years, and I went on four tree planting events. And it's so fun to see, whatever you have planted with your little hands. And it's also the beautiful picture in the background here. Whatever you have planted with your bare hands, 6 months later, you've seen it grow to something that is taller than yourself at that time, right? So yeah, amazing. I mean, I was also lucky that we were living in a small town near the Dutch border called Lommel, and it was quite a forested area, but it was also a lot of sandy. It was also quite a large sand area, so dunes more or less. But this is inland. This is not near the sea, and a lot of pine trees as well in that area. And this is called the Belgium Campen for an area, and it's a gorgeous area. So it needed more trees as well. And this is interesting that the school back in the late 60s, early 70s already was training us and teaching us, and it's been stayed with me my whole life. My whole life, I thought one day I want to do something with this, and then I bump into people like yourself and some of our other co-founders like Kwai Nam, and we put our business ideas together and turned it into a green movement. And that's what we want to build around the world, is building a community of people, of eco-conscious people that have the same, I would say, passion as us. Whether they want to do it at scale, or they want to do it in their back garden, or they want to do it with friends. At the moment, there's a lot of community gardens. If you look in some of the big cities, so there's a huge opportunity for us to get off our couch and actually start planting. And that's where I feel is the passion that is for me behind TreeTherium. And I'm so happy that I found some of you guys that are passionate about this part of the industry as well. Yeah. So tell me one thing, Matthias, because I mean, I know the story, of course, but of course we want to tell a little bit more about your story. How did you get that name, the GreenMan? Because that most likely might interest people.
Yeah, I was already in those days as a teenager very focused on, let's help Mother Earth. Mother Earth is struggling. In those days, there was the first inkling that there is a connection between chemical pollution and people's health and planet's health. There was a Rachel Carson book, A Silent Spring, that made the connection between, chemical contamination and people getting seriously sick. And when my late father asked me as a teenager, son, it's about time you get a job and earn some money. When I was your age, I was already, working on a construction site and earning some money. And I said, Dad, when he asked me, what will your job be? I said, Dad, my job will be to save the planet. And, you should have seen the face of my late father. It's like, hey, son, hey, you can't make money from hugging trees. You'll be poor all your life. You'll be working for some, of these NGOs and earning peanuts. So that's not a good idea. He was opposing it. But I already knew at that time that's my mission in life. So I actually studied chemistry and got a master's degree in environmental science and environmental management because I wanted to make a positive contribution. Already at that time, in the back of my mind was, let's make a living with healing the planet. And, many years later, after setting up environmental management training consulting company in the UK, moving to Malaysia, there was this competition in 2008 called Greenest Person on the Planet. And I was one of the people invited to apply for it. And then, I didn't take it so serious, but suddenly I was kind of in the final of the last 20 people, and then in the last 5 people. And, I submitted a video, what I do about sustainability, both in practical terms and in business terms. And I had as well co-founded a company in Germany that has low carbon footprint industrial flooring, replacing cement materials. So I was already massively in decarbonization. I had sponsored climate neutral mini forest in Thailand. My friend set up an NGO there, and he calculated, okay, you need about 500 trees to make your life carbon neutral. I sponsored 500 trees in Thailand. I invested in 4 hectares of reforestation in Panama, bought the land and biodiverse reforestation where you have different species, you attract animals. It's always going to be a forest. Yes, there will be some commercial extraction, but it will never be clear cutting. So, and then, in 2008, I won this Greenest Person on the Planet award. And it was like, oh, wow, yeah. Oh, here's the green man, and all right, bring it on, And since then, I've been wearing my green shirts, right? And I got
Yeah, yeah,
my green man logo, which was basically one guy, drawing the profile of my head, especially after my hair disappeared. So, yeah, and that's the Green Man story. It's about a mission to help Mother Earth through life, through action, through business, through money, through investment.
right.
And, opportunities are getting bigger and bigger. And now we are going to do it with the power of crypto.
Yes,
And
and
I
of
think,
course the blockchain technology, right? Because
yes,
crypto is
blockchain technology.
there's to TreeTherium. There's two sides of the
Mm,
business model, I would say. Of course, the first side is the trees side, and that's very
mm,
important to understand. What we're going to do is all about planting trees. We don't worry about the money first. Everybody behind TreeTherium at this moment are well-established businessmen. We've done our deeds already, and now we want to do something back to the planet. So one is the tree planting. That's the core of what we're going to do, and that's where we really want to motivate and empower people to do something together with their kids, together with your comrades, together with your colleagues. Do something for this planet because you can, and it's so simple. And Matthias will tell us more and more in the next coming weeks of how simple it actually is. But and then, of course, there is the business side of things. I mean, come on, to run a global organization, you need some money. So, of course, there is a money side of it, in a sense that we need some funding, and there's willing people out there that don't have the time we would love to fund, because they don't have the time but they have the money, so they would love to fund green projects. And that is actually what we're going to do within TreeTherium. We're going to build an application which is ready to launch in January next year. I've seen the prototypes. It looks freaking amazing, if I can say. And very soon everybody can log on to the system. You logged on to the blockchain, and all your actions towards a greener planet and helping Mother Earth, like you just said, Matthias, is actually going to be stored on the blockchain, immutable, and everybody will be rewarded for their efforts as well. So this is where we really are going to be making a difference, not just on the green side, but also to communities that can use these funds to buy more seeds, to buy more plants, to buy more tools, to grow faster so we can go faster. Because to me, one of the most shocking things that I have come across is actually the following. The number of football fields of trees that disappears from this earth per day is just shocking. And every time I ask the question to people, they don't have an answer. They say, oh, it must be about 100 or 150 or 200 or maybe 1,000. But it's 42 football fields, not per day, not per hour, but per minute. And that, when I saw that, that actually was for me the spark that gave me something. And now it's enough. I have to do something. I got to change my industry. I want to build this product. We have a tech team that can build digital products. We were with a team already looking into blockchain and crypto to see how we could address that into our business. And I said, this is the moment to do it. And then, of course, I called you and a couple of the others. We got our ideas together, and that in the end became TreeTherium. So yeah, it's amazing. By the way, Matthias, you just said something that I didn't even know. Okay. And I learned something very new, because there comes a moment where you sit down from a marketing perspective and you look at TreeTherium. You say, okay, we need some taglines, right? So we get our marketing guys together, and somebody said, and I can't remember if it was me or one of the other team members, and somebody said, everybody can grow a forest. And I thought, wow, that's fantastic. But what is a forest? So we came up, I think maybe we even looked at ChatGPT at that time, or we Googled it. And somebody said it was about anywhere between 500 to 800 trees would be a forest. And then, of course, if you make a statement like that, you got to give it numbers as well. So quite quickly, I came to the following idea. If you plant one tree a day, one tree a week, that's 52 trees per year. That's 500 trees per 10 years. So in 10 years, you can grow a forest. And that became our tagline. And you just said that, and I didn't know this. I never discussed this with you. That I'm sure about. That you said 500 trees make you as a person carbon neutral in average, right?
Yeah, this is for Western Europe, that calculation, rough calculation. But yeah, this is a target. And, and that's a beautiful story. And it's a beautiful target for everyone here. If we all have our mini 500 tree forest. But, there are some very important aspects to that as well. It's about, the maintenance of the forest and how is the forest going to be biodiverse. So it's not just about planting the trees. It's about the long-term journey, your long-term commitment. And that's where we hopefully can play a role as well. But going back to, the greenest person on the planet, that was 2008. And at that time, people asked me, hey, Matthias, we have a burnt down area here outside of Kuala Lumpur. Can you help us start tree planting there? And I went to that place, and then I realized, wow, this is peatland, wetland. People drain
Yes.
it, and there's concentrated carbon. Mother Nature sequesters the carbon in the form of the trees, the biomass, the leaves, or even parts of the trees fall down, and the carbon stock grows over time. So that's why peatland is so important for the long-term carbon sequestration. And when humans intervene and drain it, it starts burning. And this is what happened in that place. And then we started a campaign under Eco Warriors Malaysia. And we were able to plant about 100,000 plus trees, especially with the help of Sai Baba Malaysia. They were targeting 88,000 trees for the 88th birthday of their guru Sai Baba. And wow, they were very committed. One thing I realized is because I was too, let's say, pure in motivation at that time, I said, no business, no money. We're going to do it without that. But sooner or later, you run out of juice. You run out of energy. This is exactly what happened with my Eco Warriors group. It took off like a rocket. It went viral. But then, at a certain point in time, it flopped because we never set up a structure. We never set up a system. We never, organized financing. And this is why I think what we are doing can go places, because we need a structure. We need a framework. We need digitalization. We need tracking. We need motivation, incentives, and bringing all of this together, I think, can be the ingredients to have a real impact. And obviously, there is one thing which is preserving the existing forests, and then there's the new thing, or it's not new, but where we can contribute to restore, to grow your own forest, to contribute, to have that target 500 or more, and be part of a community, be part of a movement, be part of a motivation, incentivization, wherever you are, at what point. Some people they will sponsor it, other people will do it themselves, some people will use their own land, other people will use land that is being made available or suitable, or urban tree planting, urban ecology spaces, biodiversity spaces. So there are so many different application areas. It's going to be super exciting.
Yeah, I'm also. Every day I look at the office and at home, because the whole team, by the way, yeah, our whole team is about 15 people. They're all working from home around the globe, and we got people in Tunisia, and here in Asia, several, and in Europe. It's just, and now in a lady in Mexico, she's taking on Mexico, Brazil, and Argentina. So it's unbelievable. It's mind-boggling what is happening all behind the scenes, and it's so great to see that everybody has the same passion in helping this planet forward. And we only just got started. And I think it's such a unique opportunity. And if you hear this video, we're going to make many more videos, because there's so much more to talk about on tree planting itself, on what to do with trees. We can talk about fruit trees. We can talk about timbers. And we're also looking for businesses that see an opportunity to actually work with us. And if you're in an eco-friendly business and you're on a specific track and you think, I have something to share, well, share it with us. We'll make sure that all our contact details and our community links will be below this video, wherever you see it, whether it's on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube. And I'll hope to see you within that community and come and talk to us and find out more. Matthias,
we'll be back soon on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
And pump up the volume, inspire you guys. You have any questions, you want specific information, a lot of these things, we will develop them with more technical detail as we go along. At this point in time, we all want to be inspired, motivated. We can be the change, Now, with all of these things that are going on, we have a big problem, but we can be the solution. We can heal the planet through our actions, and collectively, we can really make a dent. Our target is billions of trees, millions of forests. And we don't want to play small. We want to play big. We need you to play with us and be part of that. So we are looking forward to connecting and collectively making a real positive impact.
Yeah, I want to tell the little story on Kenya, because this is the most funny one. One day we had a council meeting, just to share with everybody as a funny story here. We had a short council meeting, and somebody asked in the council meeting, Frank, how many trees you think we're going to plant? I said 100,000. 100 billion. And people said, are you serious? I said, well, we're going to make 100 billion tokens, and our token is going to be the tree token. So then we also have to plant 100 billion trees. So everybody thought I was nuts. The numbers were crazy. But of course, you got to aim high to at least get wherever we can go. And not within 1 week, you put us in contact with a team in Kenya, and I'm sure that all of them are going to see this video as well. A whole bunch of them have already joined the community at this moment. Thank you all guys for joining in. And we're going to be much more bigger there in Central Africa. But you put me in contact with somebody in Kenya, and we'll get him on the show here as well. His name is Ike. Sure. And within Ike. 2 weeks, yes, exactly. Ike. Yeah, exactly. So within 2 weeks after I mentioned 100 billion trees in our council meeting, Kenya announced that they want to plant 15 billion trees in the next 7 years. Now, that means that my 100 billion trees that I mentioned at that time are actually way too low. But let's start with 100 billion. Once we reach there, we'll go for the next 100 billion. So thank you, everybody, for meeting today for the first time. We see you soon. There's going to be more and more videos like this. And thank you very much, Matthias, for your time. I know you've been very busy the last couple of days. So thanks again, and see you all soon. Take care for now.